So the reason that men struggle to get into shape and ultimately stay in shape is because they're focusing on the wrong thing. They're focusing on the old way of doing things. They're focusing on Tupperware. They're focusing on putting everything on hold in order to get in shape. Whereas in this video, I'm going to focus on the one thing that you need to do, which is the new way of doing things in order to get in shape, but also have a successful career and also have a successful family life as well. So if I bring you over to my screen, I want to frame your thinking when it comes to getting in shape and why the old way is broken. You might be sitting there, if you're new here, you're thinking, who the hell am I? And I'm Lewis, I'm the founder of Tribe Coaching. This is what I used to look like when I was younger, and I've done everything over the last 10, 12 years. I've got in shape, I went through the mill, I've done bodybuilding, I've done high rocks, I've run marathons, I've got a family, I'm a dad, I'm a fiance. I've done a lot of things over the last 12 years and I've seen a lot of things as well. And my mind has completely changed from the old way of doing things. I was that guy who used to take Tupperware to work. I used to meal prep all day. I used to spend hours on the Stairmaster all week, 2-hour sessions. Literally, I was that boring guy who you looked at and thought, I bet that guy has no life. And that's exactly what people struggle with, because they still assume that that is the only way to get in shape, or that is the only way to get successful in your fitness journey. And it's simply not the case. And if you don't trust me, I've helped hundreds of guys who have been exactly in this space, wanting to get in shape, get leaner, get faster, get fitter, get stronger, but ultimately struggle to find that balance without, the yo-yo approach, or without going super hard, or the on and off switch. And we completely reframe their mind in order to get them to drop body fat and get in the best shape that they've ever been in. So more on that coming soon. So that brings me on to the old way. So people still assume that they need to eat out of Tupperware. Again, they have to miss meals out with their family or meals out with their friends. They think that they have to meal prep and spend hours doing that on a Sunday afternoon or a Monday morning or whatever. They think that they have to, again, use a Stairmaster or endless amount of cardio, which again is simply not the case. Or they might think that they have to put everything on hold in order to get in shape, or they have to have a solid 6 weeks in front of them or 8 weeks in front of them in order to get after it. But what happens after that? Whereas the new way of doing things is exactly what I've developed over the last 7 years of being a coach and all my understandings and experiences. And I put it into this new way of doing things, which is called the everyday athlete. So what I mean by that is as follows. Yes, it's about being in shape. Around that 10 to 15% body fat is a good place to be, because that's where you're going to feel your most confident. You're going to look your best with your top on and your top off. You're going to walk into a room, you're going to have that aura, but not at the detriment of energy and productivity. Because if you're anything like me, I love the game of business. I love progressing in my life. I love progressing in my career. I love helping more and more people over the years, and I still want that to be the case. So we don't want to just get in shape for the sake of being in shape. We want it to complement every other part of our life, including our career. And outside of that, we also want to make sure that we are focused on being the best family man we can be, whether that's being a partner, being a dad, being a husband, being a boyfriend, whatever it is. We want to make sure that we're turning up as the best family man as well. So that's what I mean when I coin the term the everyday athlete, because yes, people can get in shape, but at the detriment of this. And one quote that I like to use is, compare part of your life, not all of your life. And I think that's saying when you see someone in shape, you might think, oh, I wish that I looked like them. But if you delve deeper into their lifestyle, I guarantee that you probably don't want to live the life that they live, or your favorite influencer online. They're so far into fitness that every other part of their life is forgotten about. Their family unit's broken because they're so concerned about their fitness. They haven't really got a career or a successful business because they're so focused on themselves and their own training. And it's just a broken way of thinking about things. Whereas for me, the people who I have on board with me value family, they value career and progression, and they value their health and fitness, nice and simply. So that's exactly where this everyday athlete came from. So if you move down here, you're probably thinking, how am I going to get to that point? Because all I've ever known is to drop everything and go hard for as long as possible, and just literally drop your calories, go as hard as possible as you're training, and hold on. That's the only way that I can describe it. But most people get to a point where they're overwhelmed, which leads them to confusion, which leads them to overthinking, because how am I meant to sustain this if I can't eat out at the weekend, and I've got this event on, and all these different things just add more and more pressure, and it's like a boiling pot. So it gets hotter and hotter and hotter to a point where it just breaks. That leads to lack of clarity. Don't know how I'm going to get to where I need to get to. What happens then leads to lack of confidence. You might be sat there thinking, I've done this for the 5th time, I've done this to the 10th time, and you might even be at a point where you're thinking, what is the point? Because I just can't seem to crack the code. And hopefully this gives you a little bit of reassurance that you can crack the code if you try a new way. That leads to no action, and then that obviously leads to no results, which is not ideal and not where we want to try and get to. So I said, this might be you right now, and let me know if it is in the comments, but you've got no clarity. What I mean by that is you don't really know how you're going to get to the position that you want to get to, because as I said, the only way that you know is to go super, super hard for as fast as possible and dropping everything else that you think of. But you've got no clarity on how you're actually going to get to the point that you're going to get to. How much weight do I need to lose? How long is it going to take? What does that look like? How many sessions? What calories should I be on? How do I manage these weekends? Etc, etc. No clarity leads to ultimately no action, because you can't hit the target that you can't see. It's one of my favorite sayings, is that how are you meant to put things into motion when you don't know what that emotion actually looks like? And most people are paralyzed when it comes to like making decisions. That's where like being overwhelmed or anxious comes from, when you're in limbo of making the decision, or you're stuck between, you know, on the fence of doing something. So if you're lacking clarity, how are you meant to create action because you don't know where you're going? So where that leads to then is the obvious one. If you're not creating any action, that's not leading to any motivation. So you're not really essentially getting started, which obviously leads to no results at the end of that, which again is not an ideal place to be. Whereas the future you, and again, where I get my team through our, we call this a tribe roadmap, sort of. Well, this is the start of the tribe roadmap, is we get you to have complete clarity. So what that looks like is using that roadmap. Where are you at? Where are you trying to get to? What's that look like? How many kilos of loss is that? What do we need to lose week on week? How many training sessions? You name it. We break that down into a system to go, okay, this is what we need to do in order to achieve your goals based on where you're at. Not just, again, go 6 sessions a week, go on a Stairmaster for 40 minutes every single session, and we'll get there in this as quick as possible. It's based on where you're currently at. But when my clients have clarity, that leads them to action, because again, they've got the plan in front of them. They can see the dartboard. They know what the target is. They get after it. What they then do is they have more motivation because they know what they're doing, and ultimately they're getting the results from doing the thing. So when they see the results from the action that they're creating, that makes them think, oh my God, this is actually working. Leads to more action, leads to more motivation, which ultimately leads to more results. And they're stuck in that positive flywheel as opposed to being stuck in that negative one where I've got no clarity, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not motivated because I'm not seeing any results. No results leads to not starting again. And you ultimately end up in that same negative cycle which you're trying to get out of. So this is the way that you want to be thinking about your journey moving forward. And again, I call this the triple F flywheel. So as I said, your old way of looking at things is that in order to focus on, you can only focus on 2 things at once. That's what people think out of 3. So for example, the main one is people focus on family and their work, and what happens there is that fitness drops off, nice and simply. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to make this into a flywheel where everything that you do complements every part of it in both directions. And it all usually starts with the fitness side. When you're focused on yourself and you focus on getting in shape and you've got that clarity, that's going to lead into let's go this way actually. That's going to lead you into turning for your best self at work. As I said, the everyday athlete is having more energy, having more productivity, getting more shit done, which is obviously going to progress you in your career. And I've seen it all the time with the amount of people that get promotions, they move to self-employment, whatever it looks like, they move the needle forward. They're then coming from home and they're not stressed anymore. They're not reactive. They've not had a shit day and They come home and be the best version of themselves that they can be. So you put the bags down and it's not a case of going, oh, I'm going to spend another evening just dwelling on how frustrated I am. They come home to the best partner. The partner gets the best version of you. Your kids get the best version of you. Remember, you've got more energy now as well. So that gets used in the nighttime. You play with the kids more. Your missus is happy, if you know what I mean. All that sort of stuff comes into play. So one thing doesn't have to drop off in order for the other areas to be successful. They actually work as a flywheel. When you focus on one thing, it helps the next thing, it helps the next thing, and then that cycle continues. As you can probably tell, I like things being simple and I like things being in a cycle because the cycle makes it effortless. It's not a case of going, here's a starting point, here's an end point, and it's one dimensional. A cycle allows it to continue for forever and forever and forever, as long as you keep putting in the inputs, which is focusing on you and your fitness. ultimately. So as I said, one doesn't have to fail when it comes to that. So I wanted to walk you through this as well, which is our this meant to say tribe 3Ps of what we focus on. And again, I've noticed this through what I help people with and what we stand for as well. So as I said, the 3Ps stand for the following. We've got performance, we've got purpose, we've got progress. Every man I speak to wants these three things. They want to perform, whatever that looks like for you. They want to progress. As I said there, our fulfillment comes from progression in our career, in our lifestyle, in our fitness, in our running, in our family, getting new houses, whatever. And then we all require purpose. And again, I think a lot of men lack purpose in probably like team sport. So if you're in the UK or even the Western world, America, etc., you're probably involved in a team sport at some point. Football, American football, basketball, whatever. That team unit is massively important because it gives you purpose outside of school, work, or family. Whereas I think men require that now as well. So when they're focusing on their fitness journey as well, when they're focusing on going to the gym the old way, again, remember, bodybuilding 6 days a week, jumping on a Stairmaster 6 days a week, putting in nutrition into the floor, it's very isolating. Whereas when you've got this way of working around yourself or the people, you've got a focus, a purpose. Again, it doesn't half elevate you and make you part of a team and a bigger purpose. So I said with performance, we're focused on being the everyday athletes across these things, which is 10 to 15%. Again, I won't bore you again with that. Energy is a big one. Again, not at the detriment of energy. And another one that we always end up doing is run first events. So we get our teams to run a first event because it unlocks new doors when it comes to confidence. So that might be a 5K race, 10K race, half marathon, high rocks, whatever it looks like for you, whatever the next scary goal is for you, that's what that will look like. In terms of progress, how do we do that? So we do that through our tribe roadmap. As I said, it's about having complete clarity with what you're doing. We do that through our hybrid nutrition system. Again, which is all about how do you make your nutrition easy. And it's not about eating out at Tupperware, it's about eating family meals, it's about eating out at the weekend. How can we manage to do that based on where you're at? And it's also through our hybrid training principle as well. So as I say, it's not about training 6 days a week. Don't get me wrong, I train 6 days a week most of the time, but it doesn't have to be like that in order to get where you want to get to. It's based on where you're currently at. So what I mean by the hybrid training is that A, it's hybrid that it fits inside of your lifestyle, but B, we don't just focus on lifting weights, but you focus on overall fitness, which comes in the sense of running, conditioning, and lifting as well. Or we call it functional bodybuilding. And then purpose is a big one. So again, we have a massive community of people, again, all in the same boat. We do events throughout the year. Why is this pen like this? 1 second. Events throughout the year, you get the gist. And then we also have run clubs, and we do, again, we've got Barcelona Marathon coming up with a team, Liverpool Half Marathon, High Rocks, etc. So we focus a lot on the purpose side of things as well. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of like why I think the new way of doing things completely trumps the old way of doing things, because I've had so much success with this with the hundreds of guys that I've coached. I do it myself. I practice what I preach. I use this exactly with my training and what I'm doing. I want to, you know, run a successful business, have a family, progress in my career, run marathons, look good all year round, and hold that 10, 15% body fat without all this yo-yoing of I've got to be on it and I've got to be off it and so on and so forth. And again, as I said earlier, I've helped lots and lots of guys do exactly that. These are all dads, all busy, all career driven. Again, Mark's lost 30 kg, ran his first half marathon. Gaz has run 6 marathons and lost 20 kg. Mike has dropped about 20, 30 kg, ran a marathon, bench presses 130 kg now, and deadlifted 200 kilos as of this week, again, which is amazing. Dave's the same, added 10 kilos of muscle in 2024 alone. And then Leon as well, again, business owner, currently in Dubai doing business deals, lost over 10 kilos, and he's in the best shape he's ever been in. Again, is that at the detriment of everything else? Absolutely not. These guys are thriving in all areas, not just fitness, but in their career and with their family life as well. So that's what I deem to be the most successful thing. So as I said, This whole video is to change your perception on the old way of doing things and look at the new way of doing things and understand that you don't have to drop everything in order to be successful with what you're doing in fitness. There is another way of doing it, and this is exactly that way. So if you find that useful, drop it a like for me. If you have any questions on that or you want to get involved in what we do, I'll leave a link in the description as well for you to reach out so we can have a little bit of a discussion. Again, I'm not here to sell to you. This is what I do. If you want a little bit of a piece of it, come and ask and I'll send you the details. And if you have any questions, you know where I'm at. Let's go.